Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fibre Stitch. We've been making some trees in textile art. That's where we were up to. But we used all kinds of interesting scraps. We painted some Lutradur. And we also made some Tyvek bark in the earlier series. So we've got our tree here, our tree trunk. And we've been playing around with, we trapped a lot of things underneath a sheer layer. And now I'm looking more at what I can put on top of it. I have grabbed some black linen here. It's very, very loose weave. And it allows me to make it lacy, and bits of it can pop through, and it will look like the burnt bit that you normally do get on a nice gum tree. So I'm just speeding this up a bit because, quite frankly, I go through so many stages here. I try a little bit here, a little bit there. There's the Tyvek. I think, oh yes, what can I do? I decide that's really too big and bulky. I can cut that into smaller pieces. And it's just a matter of keep trying different things, to see what you might like, what you like the look of, and just allowing it to happen like that. Do you see as I'm cutting this out that I tend to move the paper around more than the scissors? And that kind of helps me to do some really intricate cutting. But I'm really just following where the wrinkles ended up when we painted this. It was an envelope to start with, a Tyvek envelope. And then we painted it, and then we tried heating it with different methods. And I ended up getting out the toaster and using that. But it did turn out really good. Nice sort of textural, crusty kind of bark, which is just what I was after. So like I say, there's plenty of placement things going on here where I try different things. I am wanting to use a little bit of that black, maybe not quite so much. And I am wanting to use some of the bark and probably more of it towards the bottom and just a little bit at the top. I also have that Lutradur that I had painted, and I've cut it into small bits too to just sort of bring in the colours that I want. And you can see through it. It's very lacy, very fine, but see how it just adds that nice other tone to that tree. I do enjoy a tree. I have so many photos of tree trunks and leaves and flowers and things that I like. And I think, when I keep looking, at what makes the tree beautiful, it starts to give me ideas. So here it is here. I have a plain piece of cotton underneath that I'm just using because, it's solid, and I'm going to put some sheer things on it. So that's what we're looking at. I'm sort of thinking, let's do some of the background. This tree looks a bit insipid on that beige. So what this is some more of that ultrafine kind of Lutradur. I had experimented with pulling it apart and seeing if it would rip and make little lacy bits to show what was underneath. And now I'm cutting out a little sort of curved edge, and I'm sort of thinking this could be like bushes or something. And I'm trying it. What would it be like there? It would be behind the tree, so I'd have to lift the tree up and put that underneath. But that lacy bit, we can put something else underneath. And can you see there, I've put a quilting fabric, and it was a nice dark green. And you can see how that has now added to the whole picture. It's given it a bit of depth. And it works well and so quick and easy. And there we go. I have just a little bit of that there. I've trimmed it down a bit because I don't want to waste it all under there. You're not going to see some bits. So there it is. quite successful. I decide I'm going to do the same this side. So I'm just starting to experiment here with which way I could have it. And I think that that is a very good start. Now I could add loads of stitching to that later if I wanted. It'll just grow with me as I do it. I will figure out more things. And I haven't really finished the tree trunk yet, but I do get sidetracked, and that's okay too, because it helps me sort of, gives me time to think about the other, and also, you know, it adds more depth, like I'm saying. So that really helps to picture what I'm going to need. Now up above, I tried the same sort of thing with some blue Lutradur. I've got some underneath my sheer sky, and I've got some on top of, just to see whether we could get variations in that colour. I am playing around with this because I love this material. Doesn't really suit, but I'm going to make it suit somehow. So I'm just trying to cut bits out of it so that it's not going to be a big block of colour. That's just going to make it a little bit more lacy. I know I'm not going to finish this in this episode, but it allows me to think about it. I mean, maybe I want to bring some of that rusty orange down into the trunk, that colour. You know, this allows me to see the whole picture and think about what else I can do. So we've got a real lovely landscape flowing through here with mountains in the distance. And see, I'm using my sheer layering. That's a nice olive green kind of sheer, or a khaki. And I'm going to cut little bits out of that too and just see, because I don't know exactly what I'm going up the top, and I don't mind trying different things and working it out. I mean, I don't really want that deep, bright, vibrant orange and green up there. I would like a little bit. I would like it sort of tinted in some areas. So I'm just thinking, what if I put something over top like that? Can you see what I mean? It would blend it in a bit more. You'd only see bits of it. It would make it more the right colour for a tree. You know, so this allows me to plan as I go. And that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking here, okay, what else did I have in my bag of tricks? I had a bit of felt. Could I use that for some dark branches? It looks a little bit too dark to me. And then I look at other things that I might be able to use. I love this web kind of mesh net. That could easily go up there. But that's all for another time. Like I say, I think the top of that tree is going to be another day. Here's some more linen. I like to use linen. I like to use this fine linen because it will do this, you know, where you can pull bits apart and have bits underneath it show through, and I like that. I use it a lot. All right, well that's enough distraction. Now I'm just going to remember that I've got my tree there. I will be doing something there, but I quite like the placement that I have now. So I'm just popping some pins in to remind myself that's where I want it, and also to start with sewing it down. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. I'm just going to use a running stitch, and just because I want those bits held down. I might add more. Don't know yet. Let's have that closer look now. So we're going to start down the bottom. See that? I really love that. It's a very wild kind of bottom there. I like the feeling of it. And I think this is going to be quite beautiful by the time it's done. Just have a look at the stitching now. You can see that I have stitched down that green. And then I also stitched down up there. You'll see that in the next little clip. Can you see there, those little stitches? So that's holding it down. And look at how little I did, and that is very, very effective. And up here, I added in a little bit more of that Lutradur that I had painted. And that works good too. It's made a sort of, well, just a variation. I might change it into something yet. But looking at it as a whole, I'm very pleased. I think next time will be my last episode on this, I hope. And I hope you join me. I really like to play with things like that, and I am glad that you have followed me and are watching how I go about it. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can even donate should you wish. Thank you.